For this video, we're going to be talking about the Week 13 Fantasy Basketball update, talking about the schedule, talking about the best waiver wire pickups and streamers. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a very special episode of ezBUCKETZ Fantasy Basketball. My job on this channel is to help you guys win your fantasy basketball leagues, and how I do that is by posting weekly updates. So of course, if you're new, be sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications to not miss any of my upcoming videos. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Soom and I'm a fantasy basketball expert. I run the channel ezBUCKETZ on YouTube, but I focus on fantasy basketball on this channel. So of course, if you ever want one-on-one fantasy basketball support, one-on-one fantasy basketball advice, go check out my Patreon page down below, where I offer special perks on direct messaging, on trade advice, waiver wire advice, and many more. Of course, if you're interested, check out my Patreon page, link is down below. But without wasting any more time, let's get into the Week 13 Fantasy Basketball update. We're gonna first start off with the upcoming schedule, talking about teams that are playing 2 games, 3 games, and 4 games. So of course, the biggest downside of this week is that the Los Angeles Lakers are only gonna be playing 2 games. They're the only team in fantasy basketball that are gonna be having 2 games, so expect a lot of rest from LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, which of course in real life is good, as they're gonna be resting. But in fantasy basketball, they're not gonna be helping us as much as we would want them to. So Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, not gonna be active this week, or if anything, not that good. Then the teams playing 3 games, the majority of NBA teams are going to be playing 3 games. All the teams are on the list. We got the Hawks, the Hornets, the Dallas Mavericks, the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Miami Heat, the Bucks, the Wolves, the Pelicans, the Knicks, the Thunder, the Magic, the Suns, the Trailblazers, the Raptors, the Jazz, and the Wizards. The majority of teams this week are going to be playing 3 games, and then the teams playing 4 games, of course, you want the best players to be playing 4 games for you in fantasy basketball. We got the Boston Celtics, the Nets, the Chicago Bulls, the Cavaliers, the Nuggets, the Pistons, the Warriors, the Rockets, the 76ers, and the Sacramento Kings, as long as the San Antonio Spurs. So players like Nikola Jokic, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, these guys are going to be great for you. Joel Embiid. They're going to be locked in for a great fantasy basketball week and could be one of the best players of the upcoming week. So of course, screenshot this screen if necessary for you to know who's playing how many games for your fantasy squads. Moving on, we're going to be talking about the injury updates. I got great news. There has been no big injury for Week 13. This is the first time we're hearing this. No big injury, of course, than what we've heard last week, but so far so good. Just a bunch of new COVID protocols, such as Kristaps Porzingis, Devin Vassell, just names that come to my mind, but no big injuries, which is great news. Moving on, we're going to be talking about a player to stash, and I'm putting Kawhi Leonard on this list. We got a report a few days ago that Kawhi is ahead of schedule during his rehab, which means he could play this season. But of course, we have no possibility of knowing when he will return, so I'm only going to recommend stashing Kawhi Leonard if your league has an extra IL spot, an injury list spot. If you don't, do not stash Kawhi, because there's still a chance he does return to the season, but not in fantasy basketball season, which of course you have to keep that in mind. But you got to be optimistic, so if you have an IL list, put Kawhi Leonard in that IL list. Moving on, we're going to be talking about the hottest waiver wire pickups, the top streamers that are trending, and I got Kobe White, Anthony Simons, Nicholas Claxton, Cameron Johnson, Herbert Jones, Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, and Talon Horton-Tucker. These are the best streamers for the upcoming fantasy basketball squads. They're going to have a lot of value going forward. Kobe White is on this list because the Bulls have been without Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso. Lonzo Ball did come back though, but Kobe White is still a pretty decent waiver wire pickup. Anthony Simons going to get a lot of burn because apparently Damian Lillard could be out for the foreseeable future with an abdominal injury, so stay tuned for that. Nicholas Claxton has become the new starting center for the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, Aldridge is still in the picture, but Claxton gets a lot of burn, especially on the rebounding, the field goal percentage, and the blocks percentage. Cameron Johnson getting a lot of burn as the bench player for the Phoenix Suns. Comes off the bench, plays a lot of minutes, more than Jay Crowder, more than Mikal Bridges on the scoring column. Cameron Johnson has become the 4th scoring option for the Phoenix Suns. Herbert Jones, a young power forward for the Pelicans, right now without Zion Williamson. Herbert Jones seems to be a development project for the Pelicans, especially with them struggling and not going to make the playoffs. Kevin Huerter coming off the bench for the Hawks, and of course being a spark plug because Cam Reddish is not, and Kevin Huerter is a great pickup. And I'm putting Malik Monk and THD on this list at the bottom only because they have 2 games this week, but in general I do believe these guys are picking up when it comes to fantasy basketball value. So pick up these players if you want a low-end shooting guard small forward that can give you all-around stats. Then I'm moving on to the waiver wire pickups of this week, players to consider streaming for the upcoming week. I got Lance Stevenson, Emmanuel Quickly, Caleb Martin, Max Struss, Terrence Ross, Hassan Whiteside, Larry Nance Jr., and Omer Yurtseven of the Miami Heat. Lance Stevenson has picked up some great positive attention as he just signed a new 10-day contract with the Indiana Pacers, dropped 20 points literally in one game. And of course, now we're hearing that Lance could even sign a new guaranteed contract. So stay tuned for that. Emmanuel Quickley getting a lot of burn for the Knicks without Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker. So Emmanuel Quickley could instantly become a primetime target. Of course, Evan Fournier getting a lot of minutes as well. Caleb Martin and Max Struss is in the lineup because Jimmy Butler is dealing with a day-to-day ankle injury. He was questionable today on Saturday, but of course, as long as Jimmy's out, these two are going to get a lot of minutes, a lot of opportunity. Hassan Whiteside in this list because Rudy Gobert is currently under COVID protocols. He got tested positive for COVID, so hopefully Rudy Gobert is okay. But Hassan Whiteside is going to be a great target to own for field goal percentage and low-end blocks and rebounds, simply while Gobert is out. Then I got Larry Nance Jr. on this list. He was a great time target before Yusuf Nurkic came back from COVID protocols. But now that Nurkic is back, Larry Nance could be going down to earth. But just keep that in mind that as long as Yusuf Nurkic is out, Larry Nance is a development project for the Portland Trailblazers. And then Omer Yurtseven is going to keep having value as long as Bam Adebayo is out. And Bam could be back within 2 weeks. So Omer will have a lot of value in the next 2 weeks or so. So yes, guys, this wraps up my video for today talking about Week 13 of Fantasy Basketball, the update. Once again, if you're new to the channel, my name is Soom and I'm a fantasy basketball expert. My job here is to help you guys win your fantasy basketball leagues. If you ever want one-on-one fantasy basketball support, go check out my Patreon page. Link is down below, where I offer you guys one-on-one direct messaging, trade advice, roster advice, all that kind of stuff. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already. But other than that, take it easy. God bless. See you all next time on Easy Buckets. Whoa!